one of your primary care physician referral partners sent a new patient your way last week, and they had the paperwork, life got busy, they never made an appointment. So a few weeks later, that partner calls and said, "Hey, did Mrs. Smith come and make her appointment?" And you're blindsided. You didn't even know Mrs. Smith was an option. And she definitely didn't make an appointment. This is one of the biggest challenges for referral partner relationships. And it's because most specialty medical practices are focused on this as an administrative challenge when it's a people challenge. We haven't met yet. I'm Alisa Connor, and every week I show up to help specialty medical practices and professional service organizations get the most bang for their buck for their marketing. If you're already investing in marketing, but you're not seeing your schedules full, if you're a medical specialty practice, or you're not seeing clients rush through the door, then you have a strategy disconnect, and I'm here to help you connect those dots. So let's get back to Mrs. Smith. Mrs. Smith is a perfect candidate for your office. And because your office, like most offices, treat referrals as a we'll deal with them when they get here sort of mentality instead of a proactive mentality of tracking and finding out where they are in the process and making sure they stay engaged, this is why you're losing referral business. And this isn't just a practice by practice methodology and thought process. This is how the industry has always done it. And so now it's time for you, in order to get ahead of your competitors, you have to kind of flip the former process on its head. And so that's what we're going to talk about in today's episode, and ensure that we are looking at our referral relationships as the big opportunity that they are, and taking care of those people that they are sending our way in a way that no one else in the industry is. If you're wondering, okay, is it really worth the time and effort to be proactive about referrals? That seems like it's a lot of manpower and a lot of time, and we are already, running at our capacity. Well, a lot of this can be automated. So that's number one. And number two is that, and it can be automated in an effective, people-friendly way. Let me state it that way. But additionally, it's costing the average practice almost $900,000 a year to not solve this problem. And if that is, not a lot of money to your practice, then maybe no, it's not worth implementing it. But the chances are that if that is not a lot of money in your practice, it's probably costing you even more. So stick with me as we walk through the process of what we can do to alleviate Mrs. Smith falling through the cracks. So if we're walking through the scenario, Mrs. Smith has a swollen ankle. She hurt it in pickleball. It's been bugging her. She's tried wrapping it. She iced it. She did heat, and she finally went to her primary care because it's not feeling any better. It's been a challenge for the last few appointments that she's met with her doctor. And so her primary care physician gives her a referral to your office. Well, she gives her the phone number or maybe even your website or fax number, however it is that you work with your referral partners. The problem is that the responsibility then becomes wholly on Mrs. Smith instead of providing some sort of proactive way for your office to reach out. So that means that not only can she fall through the cracks and not schedule with you, but she has the potential of scheduling with one of your competitors based on the advice of friends, family, the internet, Google, whoever it might be. That is diluting that referral partnership, not only for Mrs. Smith and for you, but also for the people that keep referring you. The second component of this is, okay, they make it to your office, whether that's they're calling to book an appointment or they try to go to your online scheduler or whatever it is. And if you missed that episode, I talked about it last week. If you have friction in these areas, they're not going to wait. They're not going to sit on hold forever. Mrs. Smith has got things to do. And if it's complicated and convoluted to book online, or she doesn't know which doctor to choose, or the doctor that her primary care physician mentioned doesn't have any availability, for example, she's moving on. And so the second component of this is eliminating any kind of scheduling friction so that Mrs. Smith can get in the door. So Mrs. Smith is on the phone. She's trying to book an appointment, or she's online and trying to book an appointment. And she sees that in order to get in to see the doctor, it's 3 months out. Or she can't find her insurance information on your website. So she doesn't even know if you take her insurance. And nobody's answering her questions, or it's taking too long to get answers to her questions. And so she's either going to not move forward with the specialty service, or she's going to go to one of your competitors because they've helped her calculate her average out-of-pocket costs right on their website. And the easier you can make it for your potential patients, especially people that are being referred to you, to come and do business with you, because it's not just about medicine anymore. It is very much a business transaction. The more likely you are going to get those referral patients to become patients. The fourth and final piece where referral leakage can occur is actually between the primary care physician's office and the specialist's office. If you never get back to that primary care physician and say, "Hey, Mrs. Smith came in. Thank you so much for the referral. This is her plan of action, and we expect for her to do A, B, and C. And we will keep you posted as things progress." If nothing like that is ever being sent, you've damaged that relationship. You have taken that referral relationship for granted, and it doesn't take very long to send a little email, whether it's you or somebody on your team, even if it's templated, and you just have basic information like, "Thanks so much for the referral. This patient came in on this day. We will keep you updated." It doesn't have to be complicated. It can be something that's automated. But if those things aren't happening, that referral partner feels ignored, and that's damaged that relationship, and they're going to think twice about sending somebody your way in the future. And then even worse is if that patient comes back and says, "Hey, I tried to get in with that referral partner. They didn't answer their phone. The scheduling was really hard. I couldn't see the doctor for 3 weeks. I need a different referral." That's another place that it can go awry. And we want to avoid those things. So if you missed last week's episode, I'll pop it up into one of these corners and you can click on that. But it talks about all of those friction points so that you can eliminate those, so that those referral patients aren't getting frustrated along the way. And when we're looking at referrals, we have to look at things from the perspective of, you're not just losing a patient once, you're losing the lifetime value and opportunity for that patient. Because especially as people age, and I see lots of people that I'm connected to, whether those be friendships or family or whoever, that will have one thing done. For example, they have ankle surgery. Well, the next thing you know, their knee is acting up. And so that's another potential surgery, for example, for the same patient. But if you lose that patient before they ever get to be an initial patient, you're not only losing that initial surgery, but you're losing any other opportunities that they would have to work with you. And where this gets amplified is then you also lose the opportunity for them to refer anyone they know to your practice. Because if they come to your practice and they're trying to book an appointment and they either can't book the appointment, it's too complicated, or they never get there, you lose out not only on the revenue from that initial potential service, whether that's surgery or physical therapy or whatever it might be, but you lose out on the potential of them likely having more than one injury, because as we age, our bodies start to fall apart. Let's just be real about it. And so the chance that they're going to need your assistance in the future is pretty high, but then you're also missing out on the revenue that they could be generating for you from their personal network. And so when you add all that together, that's how you come up with that really big number of potential loss for referrals. If you are leaking referrals and it's not just this patient, it's Mrs. Smith and Mr. Jones and whoever it is, 10 patients a day. Well, it's not only those 10 patients, but it's all of the people that they know and all of the other opportunities that you could have had to serve them. So when you look at the long-term value of that initial patient and what you've not only lost the initial opportunity to work with them, but you've lost everything that comes downstream. And that can be a significant problem, up to $1 million a year or more, depending on how many referral patients you're getting and how many are falling through the cracks. And so fixing that problem can be critical to keeping you not only afloat and doing the work that you're doing now, but also the potential to keep growing and to grow past your competitors and the private equity organizations that are trying to purchase up all the individually owned practices. Speaking of private equity, a lot of times we think that relationships with referral partners are going to be affected if they are forced to use private equity resources for their patients. And the really great thing about those PCP relationships and other referral partner relationships is that you've already built the trust. So there's no advertising, there's no marketing needed, there's no additional cost because you've spent the time building the relationship. But relationships don't last if they're ignored. And the quickest way for a relationship to go sour is when there's not a process behind how to nurture that relationship. Some of the things we talked about just a few minutes ago are ways to nurture that relationship. And a lot of people aren't doing that because they're busy and they haven't set up a process that helps them systematize it so that it happens automatically. When you have a system in place, your referrals feel valued, they feel respected, and they feel like they can continue to send you people and they're also going to be taken care of. So it not only makes the patient feel respected and taken care of, but it also makes your referral partners feel like they are respected and taken care of. And they feel comfortable continuing to send you their referral patients. A lot of organizations like to blame their lack of referrals on how organizational changes have occurred. But at the end of the day, people do business with people. And so if you spent the time and the energy nurturing those relationships and building those relationships, the reason they're not sending you referrals probably doesn't have much to do with their organizational change. And it has more to do instead with how they feel treated by your organization. A simple 3-step system can ensure that your referrals are taken care of, that your referral partners are taken care of, and that you are continuing to nurture and build those relationships. The first step is to track where referrals are in the process with your office. As soon as a referral comes in, if you have a CRM and you can put it into a pipeline or some sort of process within your organization that can be automated, you can track who they are, where they came from, what they need, and their status. Are they in the process of trying to book an appointment? Or have they booked an appointment? Do they have their paperwork filled out? All of this can be systematized and it can be created so that your team doesn't, it's a matter of dragging that person between columns. Like they're here now. Oh, they had to reschedule. They go into this column, but we need to make sure we're following up with them because they didn't reschedule yet. Systematizing the process makes it easy for your team to know, one, how people are getting to you, and you can track it back as well at the end of your 90-day, 120-day yearly cycle, whatever it is that you use for tracking. But also it helps you stay on top of those referrals because those are already people who the trust is built in from their primary care physician. But if you are ignoring them, they're going somewhere else. And so if you have a process in place that is easy to implement and creates ease for your team in implementing that, whoever is responsible for those referral relationships, then it will be more likely that those people will move through the process like an Amazon package. When you order from Amazon, they send you your order is confirmed, your order has shipped, here's where your order is, you can expect it at this time, and then when it's been delivered, you get a picture of here's your item being delivered. We need to treat our referrals and our patients, for that matter, the same way. They need to have a system that they're processed through so that everyone is communicated to. And if there's a hiccup along the way, and for example, Mrs. Smith never makes it to schedule an appointment, she never reaches out to you, you can then reach out to Dr. Joseph and say, hi, you sent us a referral, but we haven't heard from her. Do you want to reach out to her and find out what's going on? Because it sounded like it was pretty urgent. And you're not dropping the ball. You're putting the ball back to their court so that they can reach out and say, hey, what's going on? And that will continue the pathway forward. So that's step number 1, is to create a process that is easy to implement, that tracks where your referrals are coming from, who they are, what's going on with them, and the status of where they are in your process. A lot of times those processes aren't created or documented. That's something that I can assist with, and that's something that I help practices with, is coming in and creating those processes. Oftentimes, looking at things from the outside in gives you a different perspective and a higher perspective than being stuck in the process or the way that you've always done it all along. It takes a different skill set to change a business than it does to run a business. And that's one of the key factors that I bring to organizations is I can look at it from a different perspective and show you where the hiccups are so that you can iron them out and keep moving forward, which leads us to step number 2. It enables you to be proactive with referrals, whether that's a text message, that's a phone call, it's an email, or all three. You have the ability to reach out to them because you have the information from the referring doctor to be able to reach out. Do you know how many offices are reaching out to referrals? I can guarantee you it's probably less than 1%. I didn't pull any stats, but I'm guessing just based on my own experience and the people in my network that go through this type of situation regularly. And it's almost never that you're reached out to by a referring doctor. And these are warm leads. Like if you're looking at the opportunity to grow your practice, these are people that should be reached out to immediately, whether it's 24 or 48 hours. And I can guarantee you, if your office is proactive in reaching out to them instead of waiting for them to reach out to you, you're going to have a much higher likelihood that they're going to become a patient simply because no one else is doing it. Or if they are doing it, it's ineffective. So think about how you can add that into your process. For step number 1 is what is your plan going to be to proactively reach out to these people and ensure that they are being met where they are and that you're making their life easier. So whether that is to book an appointment or send them a link to online scheduling or whatever that step might be that gets them moving in the process of coming to your office. This not only makes the life of your future patient easier because you're hand delivering everything they need to keep moving forward. It immediately expresses that you value and care about them and their well-being. When you reach out first, what does that say? No one else is doing this. It's time intensive. It takes energy. It takes thinking ahead, and it takes a process. Most organizations aren't doing that. But when you are proactive about the way you reach out, you're immediately signaling to that new patient, hey, we care about you. We want to make sure that you're taken care of. That's a feeling they're not going to get from someone else. And the likelihood that they're going to come to your practice for that reason alone is very high. And then the third step of this process is one we talked about earlier, which is you have to close the loop with their referring partner. So whether that's a primary care physician or another specialist that you work with, close the loop and say, hey, Mrs. Smith came in. We had our first appointment. Thanks so much for referring her over. We're going to be able to help her. And we are going to keep you updated on what's happening with her all the way through the process. This is her next, and you can put her next appointment is blah, 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 whatever the date is, or leave it as long or short as you want. But as long as you're including those key factors of, we are so grateful for you. Thank you for the referral. And this is how we're taking care of your patient. Those are things that are also not happening in the industry. And it's another way to set you apart and to keep you top of mind with those referral partners so that they remember you the next time that one of their patients comes in and needs assistance. They also will feel valued, respected, and it will continue to build trust in that relationship, which is really, really important right now because trust is at an all-time low in most of the world. So in every situation. So anything we can do to build that trust and create trust within those partnerships and those relationships, the better off we're going to be. If you tune into these episodes regularly, you know that I always give you an action plan so that you can start taking action right away. And this week is no different. So let's dive into your action plan. The first thing for you to do, step number 1 of this action plan, is to review your referral data if you have it. A lot of organizations don't have it. They're not tracking any kind of referrals, and it's just sort of a fluke when one shows up. My guess is that you probably have more referrals coming your way than you know, but because it's not being tracked, you can't reconcile it. And so go back 90 days. If you don't have enough data, go back 180 days and track those referrals, see where they came from, see how many of them became patients. And if they didn't become patients or they're lost in the system, reach out to the referring doctor and ask them what happened. Like, is this has they come back in? And at least you can see where the relationship sits and whether or not you can salvage it. Step number 2 is to call your top 3 referral partners and ask them one simple question. What can we do to make it easier for you to refer your patients to our office? And just listen. They will tell you exactly where things are going awry, where people are getting stuck, the things that they have heard back from their patients that they would be referring to you, and you know exactly what to fix once they're done talking. Document those conversations, whether you record them or you take notes, because everything they tell you in those conversations is going to be a clue to what you need to do first to improve referral relationships and get more referrals booked and into your practice. And then the third piece is to map that referral process and see where people are falling off in the process. Is it immediately from their referring physician, like they're never making it to the door, or are they trying to schedule an appointment and it's too complicated and they just give up? Or are they making it to the scheduling of the appointment and then they don't show up because they don't know if they can't get their questions answered? And whatever that mapped process is, and you can see right that the biggest glaring point where people are falling out of the process, that's where you know you need to focus in the next 30, 60, 90 days. And getting some of those items cleared up, because that's going to improve your referral process and it's going to improve your referral relationships. The hidden benefit is then when you have these things documented and you have a smooth process, it makes it much easier for you to reach out to additional referral partners. In fact, it could be referral partners that you had never even thought of. But now that you have the process mapped, you know there are certain areas where patients get stuck and you could have a partner that could fill in the gaps right there. One of the things that I do for specialty medical practices is to help them identify their referral gaps. I offer a free assessment that gives you 3 places to focus so you know where to get started, and you can get access to that with the link below this video. Thanks so much for tuning in this week. If you found value in this episode, I would love for you to share it with a friend and to hit the like button. I like it, and so does YouTube. And I will see you next week. In the meantime, take care, be well, and stay safe. See you soon.